wondering how to find your first job? Well, in this video, I share my 3 key takeaways of how I found my first job and how it might help you to find yours too. Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Bernardi, founder of Whole Person Academy. And in this video, I really want to share my entry point into the world of work. It came from a place of survival. I wasn't sure where to start. I didn't really have a plan for my life. When I completed my secondary schooling in South Africa, we call it completing your matric. I was 17 years old. I'd applied to university to study for a BA degree, and I was excited. I was genuinely excited by the prospect of being able to go to university. I would be the first in my family to complete my secondary schooling in my immediate family. So I was excited. So when I got my matric results, I was excited but also unsure because as much as I got my exemption that would enable me to study at university, there was no money to study. And my parents at the time were working hard. They didn't know how to have that conversation with me. And so no one said anything. I didn't know what was going to happen next. I completed my matric and then I stayed at home for a week, 2 weeks. And then I thought, well, I better try and do something because it's very boring just to sit at home. And so I walked 3 kilometers to our local shopping center. And that's where I saw the office for our local newspaper. And I thought, what would happen if I just went up to them today and asked them if they needed help to write articles? All that I knew at the time, my 17-year-old, uncertain, very anxious self, felt that I could write. I can write. That's all I can do. I can offer them to just get experience to write some articles. And so I went in, and the editor happened to be there that day. And she said, well, we are looking for a journalist. I'll speak to my husband. And then a day later, I got a call from the office to go in for an interview. So as I share this, I'm being very open and real. I'm not trying to be perfect and tell you how I was wonderful and excellent and amazing, because I wasn't. I grew up in a home where there was a lot of domestic violence. We were surviving. We really were surviving. We didn't know what would happen the next day. And so when I got the call to go in for the interview, I'd been sitting around watching TV. I didn't really know that I should wear something smart. I went in with my jeans and a tie-dye t-shirt. And for some reason, they hired me. And I started my first job. I was very surprised. I had to start the next day. And I had no idea what to expect. No one coached me on what to do when I get into a work environment. No one spoke to me about how to work with your colleagues, how to work with your boss. I literally had just dove in. So from that experience, I made lots of mistakes. I once sent a letter to someone that the editor asked me to do, and I didn't put an envelope on it. I didn't know that. In your first year, your first experience, you're going to make mistakes because you just don't know what you don't know yet. And so it can be very scary. It can be very overwhelming. But this came as a result of me taking a chance. And so I think a lot of young people get stuck because either you haven't been able to go to university, or you are still studying and you haven't been able to complete your studies due to lack of funding or perhaps personal circumstances, and so you have half a qualification, or you are a graduate and you're feeling very inadequate because you've been told that if you just get a university degree and get this piece of paper, your life will be okay. And it's not. And it's been months and you haven't found a job. And so you have to be proactive. You have to think about, what can I do? Even if it's not aligned to what you studied. All that I knew was I could write. And that's because I got A's for English in school. I loved to read and I could write. And I knew I had an interest in writing. And that one little seed, a little tiny seed of I can do something, I put that into a soil, not maybe the best soil, but it was soil. And that started to take root and that started to grow. So for my first job, the person who hired me actually gave me my career advice. He asked me, Cheryl, are you planning to study? And I said, I would have loved to study. I did apply at the university of my dreams and I got provisionally accepted, but there's no money for me to study. So this was 1997. This was 3 years after our country had transitioned. And so I didn't know about bursary support. I I'd heard about bursaries, but I didn't know how to access it. So I was really cut off from any kind of real help. And a lot of people in our country are facing that reality at the moment. Perhaps that's also you in your country. You don't really know what the next step is. And so he said, you know what, Cheryl, maybe you should try and study part-time. I didn't even know I could do that. He told me about UNISA, where I could potentially do a BA communications degree, because if I'm good at writing, might be good at communicating one day, and there's more career opportunities from that. So because someone took time just to talk to me and give me an option that I didn't know about, it meant so much to me. And this is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because it's just information at the right time that can really be the answer that you're waiting for. And so that's just going into that office that one day saying, what if? Let me try. That resulted in so many different things. And so don't be afraid to try. Knock on the door, phone someone, speak to someone in your friend and family circle and say, hey, I can bake, I can fix cars, I can work with books. Can I come and help you in your small business? You don't have to pay me for now, but I just want some experience. I want to learn. And when you get there, be open to feedback. We might think that getting a job gives us that financial stability so that we can get money to do the things that we want to do. But actually, work gives you an opportunity to learn and to grow, to expand your skill set. And the biggest thing about working is that you have to learn how to apply what you know in a real world environment. You have to learn how to work with people. You have to learn how to communicate with people. And so even though I was starting out as a victim, really, because I couldn't own my voice. I didn't have a voice. I was still living in a very challenging home environment. And so that affected the way that I showed up at work. Whenever my father would have an episode of anger or whatever, that would affect the way that I showed up at work. And I didn't have a support system. So perhaps that's you today. Perhaps you're watching this video and you're relating to what I'm telling you. You also are feeling like you are in a home environment that's beyond your control and you don't know how to find the way out. And you know what? Actually, work can be that. So starting to work helped me to see that I can actually do something. It started to build a sense of self-confidence, because from starting out absolutely green, not knowing where to go, what to do, I started writing articles. I started interviewing people. Within 3 months, I started doing the editorial layout of the whole entire newspaper. So I learned that skill. I started taking photographs, attending community events. That really expanded my skill set, and I knew I could do something. Because there was a lot of stress at the job, and coupled with my personal stress, I only really worked there for a year. But from that year of work experience, that was on my CV. I started studying. I enrolled for my course through UNISA. I started studying my BA communications degree. So my next job was not at all in writing. It was actually in insurance as a data capturer. And then eventually I was able to get a job as a communications officer. That was 3 years later. So when you start your first job, it's your first step on a journey, a lifelong journey of discovery. Work will help you discover what you're made of. It will challenge you, because it will show you areas of weakness, areas of challenge. But don't stop. Don't stop. Keep trying, keep moving forward, keep knocking on those doors until something opens. And take something with both hands and say, I'm going to do my best today. I'm going to show up, even though it's imperfect and I have my personal struggles. I might not have all the support systems, but you owe it to yourself to see what you can do. And so I just want to encourage you today that, number one, if you are facing the anxiety of being unemployed, I understand what that feels like. But most importantly, I just want to encourage you that you are valuable. There's something in you that you have to share with the world. And it's not something that will show up one day out of the sky. No, it's in you. That seed is in you. That seed of greatness is inside of you. And so you have to take that seed and plant it somewhere. You have to get roots in there. You have to let the different seasons of life prune you, help you to grow, and then bear this amazing fruit that people come to you to receive. If you're struggling to find your first job, leave a comment below and let me know if you have any questions of how we can support and help you along your journey. How did you get your first job? If you're already working, maybe your third or fourth job, share your story in the comments below so others can also be inspired by your own journey. If you have any questions, if we can help you, reach out. Our contact details are in the description box below. We want to help you to live, love, and work from a place of wholeness. It took me years to realize that I don't have to live as a victim. I don't have to let my past define me. And work was the crucible where I fully came alive. So I want to encourage you today to not give up hope, to keep trying, and to keep growing. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.